Hey guys, it's BroUwack, and today the smallest update for Overwatch 2 just released today. And with this patch came an Orisa nerf. We also got a Venture nerf. Whoa, I knew people weren't gonna like it. Hey, nice, okay? I'm sad too. And you're probably wondering who else got changed in this update for Overwatch 2, and that's it. This is one of the smallest updates that we've ever gotten in Overwatch's history. It's just 2 heroes getting changed, but it's at least 1 hero that needed to get changed. I'll let you decide who that hero is, but let's look at these hero changes and talk about what's gonna happen to the meta, because something's gonna happen to the meta even from just nerfing 2 heroes. Well, actually, I lied, because technically every single DPS hero is getting changed because they're gonna be buffing the role passive for all damage heroes from 15% to 20%. So they're just going back to the original role passive when they introduced the new damage role passive. The whole reason why they brought it down from 20% to 15% was to make it so that support heals actually felt useful, but now they're reverting it, so they basically want to just go back to DPS heroes dominating the competitive meta and making support heroes feel more useless to the point where you gotta play DPS support hybrid heroes? I don't get it. I don't get this change at all. I don't know, I guess let me know what you think about the damage roll passive buff, but we gotta talk about the 2 heroes getting nerfed, which is Orisa and Venture. First, let's start off with the good news and look at Orisa's nerf. So they're gonna be nerfing her Fortify and Javelin Spin, where the duration for her Fortify is getting reduced from 4.5 to now 3.5 seconds, and when Orisa is fortified, she now moves 20% slower, kind of like how she was back in, I think, in Season 3. But the fun don't stop there, because they're also going to be nerfing the Javelin Spin cooldown, increasing it from 7 seconds to 9 seconds. An additional 2 seconds is massive on top of the other 2 nerfs. Now, before we look at Venture's nerf, let's talk about this Orisa nerf, because this was needed. Orisa's been meta for like 27 seasons in Overwatch 2, which is crazy because there's only 10, but that's how good and dominant Orisa has been. Very few tanks have been able to contest her, Malgo being the most recent one, but it was mainly the DPS and support heroes that are having trouble dealing with Orisa because she brings so much sustainability, and that's good for a tank, but when she has so many abilities that can kind of be flowed into each other that can provide that much sustainability, it begins to be too much because they allow her to have windows of opportunity to get healed and to continue that elongated sustainability. So by increasing the cooldown for her Javelin Spin and also nerfing the time that the Fortify is activated, it obviously makes that window of opportunity to get healed way more smaller, giving you a chance to actually burn down the Orisa that isn't really conscious of using their abilities to flow into each other. However, what this also will do is open up the opportunity for other heroes that otherwise couldn't compete in the Orisa meta a chance to compete. I'm mainly looking at Doomfist, but also especially Roadhog. Now, while they still have their obvious counters, which I think is good to have in a video game, Doomfist and Roadhog being Cassidy and Honor respectively, I feel like they're gonna have more opportunities, whereas beforehand, Orisa wasn't necessarily the must pick, but was a way better pick than both of these heroes. But now we gotta look at Venture's nerf, where on paper, these nerfs don't seem bad, but in combo execution, these are terrible. These are so bad for Venture. First of all, they're gonna be nerfing the maximum explosion damage for their Smart Excavator from 45 to 40. That's not too bad until you look at the Drill Dash impact damage also getting nerfed from 40 to 30. And just to add insult to injury, they're also going to make their ultimate charge increase by 10%. Now, like I said before, on paper, this don't seem bad, but when you actually get in a 1v1 with a full 250 HP hero, you can no longer shoot, drill dash, and melee to one-shot KO an enemy. You also can no longer shoot, drill dash, and then shoot to also one-shot kill an enemy, which is a very common and popular and simple combo for Venture. Now, this is going to be a controversial change that I really want to talk about, because I genuinely thought that Venture was going to be one of the few heroes that could be released in Overwatch 2 and not go through any sort of nerf or buffs. Like, I truly thought that they were fine. And the main reason why I think they were fine is because they have their obvious counters that can stop them a lot of the time. And that's why I think that in the higher ranks, they weren't that much of a problem, because everybody could play a Pharah, everyone can play an Ashe, but more importantly, everyone can play play a Cassidy, and Cassidy is the main counter for Venture that could really stop them at any point that you want to. All you had to do was throw a mana grenade either once they got above the ground or at any time that they were above the ground, because not only could it stop them from digging underground, which is when they're most dangerous, but more importantly, you can stop them from drill dashing you, which is how they kill you every single time. And now that's no longer the case with a fully 250 HP hero. I kind of picture it similar to how Roadhog was, where yeah, you still can get a one-shot hook combo, but you just gotta damage them a little bit before you do that. But most of the time, you're the one initiating the one-shot hook capability. You're the one trying to get that insta-kill, which is what makes them lethal. For Venture, that is what made them lethal, and why a lot of people will argue, well, that's why they had to get nerfed, because they kill way too quick. But it's not like you can just pull it off every single time, because you still had to land that perfect 80 shot. Then you had to land a perfect 100 HP drill, and then you had to either melee or land another 80 shot. And now, even if you do that in a perfect rapid session, you're not gonna get the kill. And more than likely, after that second shot or after that melee, the enemy is gonna get healed up, which means that you're gonna be in a sticky situation because you just used your drill thinking that you're gonna get a kill. You can't escape out of there because you just used your burrow. What are you gonna do? And that's what's gonna make Venture's downfall so drastic. Now, I know there's quite a few Venture haters out there will say, well, good, because they were so dominant in my games. But again, I think we need good heroes. I think we need heroes like Venture that, yeah, you can't get an insta-kill just by shooting. You can't get an insta-kill by drilling, but if you combo them all together in a vacuum, you will be able to get that kill, and that's what makes that hero so good. But now, not only can they not do that, but they also have their obvious counters. I'm gonna be honest, I think Venture's cooked. I think Venture's gonna be a low 2 hero where there's no reason to play them. There's no reason to try to bring them out because you can't get the insta-kills anymore. I'm willing to admit that maybe this is just the day one doomsday effect when looking at the patch notes, thinking that this is gonna heavily affect them, and then turns out that they're actually more balanced than beforehand. But there was a reason why we had a trial period. It was to test them out, and then they didn't receive any notable changes, and I think they were fine, and now they're not, and I'm just sad. But now that begs the question, okay, well, what DPS heroes are gonna be viable now that Venture is not really the main star of the show? Where I think indirectly that means that Cassidy won't really be the main star of the show either, because Cassidy was so popular because of Venture, which I think in turn will lead to an influx of Tracer players returning because there's not really a Cassidy there to keep her in check, at least as often as he was there to keep Venture in check. I've also been seeing an influx of some Swordsman players in my game. Now, maybe that's just my games that I've been seeing that. I'm not saying that Swordsman actually will be seen more often because of these Venture nerfs, but I think Swordsman is in a decent place to be able to get to the one-shot insta-kills, because it seems like that is very, very important in Overwatch 2 nowadays. And I also feel like Genji can also You Genji mates thought that you were gonna be better. Come on now, let's get real here. I was kind of surprised that we didn't see Genji nerf because hashtag nerf Genji. I don't know, but one thing's for sure is that just these 2 simple changes will definitely shake up the meta, which is surprising because that's very rare when that happens. But until it does happen, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch 2 videos to come, and bye.